The Tim Pool video was talking about the one person that they found that was defending Jussie Smollett, and they of course ran with it. It's like, well, this is what the left believes, and this is old. So I want to play a little bit of this. Of this, Ben Shapiro says he's exposing the leftists that defended Jussie Smollett. So I want you to pay attention here to the dates. When he's talking about the people who defended Jussie Smollett, he's giving dates where somebody said this or somebody did this or whatever, right? So what happens here is
Joe Biden, who rushed to Twitter to tweet out using two fingers, because that's how he do it. He tweeted out, "What happened today to Jussie Smollett must never be tolerated in this country. We must stand up and demand that we no longer give this hate safe harbor, that homophobia and racism have no place on our streets or in our hearts. We are with you, Jussie." And I have good news. Homophobia and racism had no place on our streets because the attacker of Jussie Smollett.
So, and Ben here is talking about a tweet that happened in 2019, right? That was actually put out before anyone knew that it was actually fake, right? And then he's coming after the people who believed the victim, which normally it's not a fake hate crime. So in this case it was. So he's going after the people for what exactly? I have no idea.
Is going to prison. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris, when she wasn't trying to bail out rioters in the middle of the BLM riots, that would be just a little while later. This is January of 2019. She tweets out, "Jussie Smollett is one of the kindest, most gentle human beings I know." Well, not to Jussie, as it turns out. He was not so kind or gentle to Jussie. "I'm praying for his quick recovery. This was an attempted modern-day lynching." By the way, this tweet is still up. "No one should have to fear for their life because of their sexuality or color of their skin. We must confront this."
So what is the date on that one? January 29th, 2019, right? Exactly, Lickstra. Time is an illusion. We can just squeeze time and stretch it and just put things that were actually back here and then put them forward and then make the people look bad who said it, right? It's like, yeah. So Pax Max, yes, she's apparently a person who did a thing and founded an organization, and so she put out the statement. Just because she put out the statement as the official position of a group, she still is one person. I doubt that she took a poll among all people who, so if you took a poll among all the people who went to BLM protests in the summer of 2000, how do you think that poll would turn out, Pax Max? If you were to take a poll of those people, would you be comfortable betting me that 3/4? I would say I'd even give you 3/4. I wouldn't even have to say how. I'd say if 3/4 or more of those people would say that no, they're not going to continue to defend Jussie Smollett after they found out that it was a faked hate crime. Statement from i.e. not one person. It's an organization supporting his shenanigans. It's an organization, okay? And co-founder, right? That's fine. Okay, so maybe there were two people. I mean, what am I supposed to take from this? Your thesis, the central thesis of conservatives is the left believes this thing. Okay, do you know how easy it is to find a person or even an organization? I don't know to what extent that organization is big. Okay, it's a co-founder of BLM Los Angeles. I don't know how many founders they have. I don't know how many people are actually in the LA Black Lives Matter chapter. I don't know that was something that people voted on for them to say. But would you really believe that the rank and file of most people who support BLM in general, as a general rule, I'm not talking about people that are literally consider themselves part of the organization, but people who say, okay, I support the BLM protests. Do you think that a large number of people, anywhere near a majority of people, think at this point today, I'm not talking about before, I'm talking about today. Do you think that those people today still think that they would still defend Jussie Smollett? Absolutely not. I can't possibly imagine that that's the case. But you seem to think otherwise. I don't know, or maybe you're still pounding on that one person, and I can't help you there, man. So Ben goes on here.
Hate. It was an attempt in modern-day lynching by Jussie Smollett against Jussie Smollett. Such lynchings have to end. Nancy Pelosi, who now has deleted this tweet, she tweeted, "The racist, homophobic attack on Jussie Smollett is an affront to our humanity. No one should be attacked for who they are or whom
Ben doing his terrible impressions of politicians
they love. I pray that Jussie has a speedy recovery and that justice is served. May we all commit to ending this hate once."
Oh, notice, so he cut off the date on this one. See, if he had cut off the date on the other ones, like I could at least, I guess maybe they forgot, or who knows.
And for all. Oh, so moving, so moving. Maxine Waters, who has yet to find a race riot that she doesn't love, she tweeted out, "Jussie is my friend, a very talented and beautiful human being." So she's wrong on both of those things. He is not talented, and he is not a beautiful human being.
And there's the date again.
It is so hurtful that homophobic haters would dare hurt someone so loving and giving of checks to Nigerian immigrants to beat him up. I'm dedicated to finding the culprits and bringing them to justice. I have some good news, Maxine. Her search was not in vain. She was dedicated, like O.J. Simpson, to finding the real killer. She was dedicated to finding the culprits and bringing them to justice. Jussie did not deserve to be harmed by anyone. Again, I have good news. He was not harmed by anyone, so that's good. Dedicated to finding the culprits and bringing them to justice. By the way, has Maxine Waters ever said this about, an innocent black person killed by a black person? Which is the vast majority of black people who are killed in this country.
Oh, here we go. This is the black people are killing black people defense. This is the usual, this, especially a year and a half ago, was and still really is a very common talking point among the right. As soon as they say, "Oh, well, we want more rights," or we don't think that we're being treated fairly, then he immediately goes to, well, black people kill black people all the time, so it happens all the time, and this is basically the hint is that, well, if they don't care about each other, if there are some black people killing other black people, why should we care about any of this, right? That's part of the part of the masking over of this kind of thing. Like, they're like, well, we don't need to care about it until murder stops, basically. As soon as murder stops, as soon as there's no more murder, then we'll start caring about BLM stuff, right? So yeah, it makes it super convenient, since murder doesn't ever stop anywhere in any country at any time. So basically, they're just saying, no, we don't care. And yes, you're correct, Ross. Greetings, by the way. Is one of my patrons. I appreciate your support, good sir. So his impressions are indeed horrific, and it's the out-of-date tweets are just hilarious. Like, I don't even know how he thinks. Like, where does he get the impression that this is convincing? Like, he takes the dates off the tweets and stuff. Like, what is this? What does this mean? Yeah, you should screen cap that image with his giant bushy eyebrows and like giving that sort of whatever that is. So, what else does Ben have to say here?
Because it turns out that intra-racial crime is significantly more common than interracial crime?
Yeah, so that's like, it's like a sneaky way of 1315. Like, it's basically, yeah, well, because interracial crime is much more common than interracial crime, and then of course he just said that that a lot of black people are killed by other black people. So this is just like a sort of sneaky way to do 1350 without being so obvious about it.
Okay, and then there was Bernie. Bernie sounded off. We could do this all day, gang. I got all the receipts today. Bernie Sanders tweeted, "The racist."
You have receipts from a year and a half ago on something that nobody believes now. That's all the receipts. Clown.
An homophobic attack on Jussie Smollett is a horrific instance of the surging hostility toward minorities around the country.
All right, Ben, please, Ben, no, with the the imitations of politicians. Just no, you're just not.
We must come together to eradicate all forms of bigotry and violence. Here's the thing. The supply of racism and bigotry in America is so low, and the demand on the left is so high, that even a completely false, ridiculous on its face story like this had to be treated as gospel truth by the entire left, top to bottom, side to side. I mean, everyone.
So yeah, again, he brings out Bernie Sanders, does a terrible Bernie Sanders impression, and then says that he has the receipts on something that happened almost 2 years ago. It's something that he said almost 2 years ago, when the situation was completely different. It's very strange. It's very strange that he thinks that this is even, that he thinks this is compelling to anything. Because I usually think that Ben Shapiro, while he's a horrible person when it comes to his views on politics, like, I like to think that, well, it's not that I like to think that, it's just that I think that he's maybe half a notch smarter, at least, than some of the other right-wing commentators. So I would think that he would steer clear of this and be like, well, this isn't really very compelling. This is like stuff from a long time, and he's not going to go there. But no, everybody's leaning into it. Super just leaning into it. And yeah. And yes, you're right. His audience is certainly gobbling it up. Absolutely no doubt about it. His audience loves this stuff.
Expression of doubt was tantamount to a form of heresy. Pete Buttigieg, he tweeted out, while the struggle for basic hate crime legislation continues here in Indiana, this horrible attack calls all Americans to stand against hatred and violence in all.
And again, from January 2019.
Of its forms. I'd finish this tweet, but I'm on paternity leave. And then, of course, there was Kirsten Gillibrand, the one-time presidential candidate. I say one time because it literally was one time. It was like for a minute. She tweeted, "This is a sickening and outrageous attack, and horribly, it's the latest of too many hate crimes against LGBTQ plus IAA and his family."
Very.
Who enables or normalizes it? Who has enabled or normalized this behavior, Kirsten Gillibrand? Who would enable or normalize race hoax behavior? Who? Who would do such a thing, Kirsten Gillibrand? Who? And then the irrepressible, the fresh, so faced, freshly McFace head, Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, representative from Twitch. She
here we go. AOC, the AOC hate is real.
Tweeted, there's a headline from Entertainment Today that said Jussie Smollett has been hospitalized in Chicago after a possible homophobic and racially charged attack. And she said, there is no such thing as racially charged. This attack was not possibly homophobic. It was racist and homophobic. If you don't like what
is this really an impression of AOC? Is he just... what is this, Ben?
Happening to our country, work to change it. It's no one's job to water down or sugarcoat the rise of hate crimes. Also, here I am, sugarcoating anti-Semitism. Rashida Tlaib sounded off as well. When one of the most famous black and gay men in America is not safe, the message is clearer than it ever has been. She was quoting an article from GQ. The dangerous lies spewing from the right wing is killing and hurting our people.
That is actually true. That definitely is true. Even though this particular incident was not true, this statement that Rashida Tlaib said is true.
Thinking of you, Jussie Smollett, and my LGBTQ plus IA plus LUY $.
Yes, noted comic Ben Shapiro making fun of the LGBT. She puts LGBTQ, and then he adds a bunch of nonsense at the end, and that's super hilarious. Yes, it is, Ben.
Neighbors. The dangerous lies spewing from the right wing is killing and hurting. I feel like that was not the lie here, but you needed to tell it, didn't you? Didn't you? We'll get to more on this in just 1 second. First, let me tell you about the best Christmas gift of the season. It is the new Kamakoto Japanese promo code Ben Shapiro. Save an extra 50. He was lying, and pretty obviously lying. GLAAD put out a statement at the time saying, Jussie's experience is sadly not unique in today's America.
Obviously lying. Okay, yeah, so again, he's like, well, he was obviously lying, which, like, no, at the time there was no reason to think that anyone was obviously doing anything. That is, yeah. So, Lickstra, they did find the people who were apparently hired to perpetrate this incident, and I don't recall who they were to him. They were acquaintances of his or something. I don't recall all the details of it either, but it was rather clear after a few days that the story kind of fell apart. I don't know every detail about it. A lot of these details, of course, came out of the trial as well, but a lot of them were known by the time the trial actually happened. So it's been a while since I've seen like the original news stories on it. So Paxmax, however, yeah, see, and Paxmax, this is another trick that people say, like, well, okay, if there's no outcry to take the statement down, that equals supporting. So you're assuming that this person and or this particular organization is important. This particular local chapter of some BLM adjacent organization, and I'm not sure that it is something that people are paying a lot of attention to, this particular chapter. I don't know. But, you know, if Paxmax, if it's my job to go around the internet and point out all the people who are wrong or stupid or whatever, I mean, I wouldn't be able to sleep. I would need 50 million of me just to fact check every stupid thing that somebody says on the internet. It's like, where would you even start there? That's not on me. You can't put that on me. You can't put that on the left. You can just say, well, interesting. Doesn't seem like the left is really like coalescing to say, hey, Jussie Smollett was wronged or anything like that. You're not seeing any of that. So you don't have to do a survey. You don't have to physically do a survey to figure out, I just don't think that this is the typical response, right?
By the way, that's true. Race hoaxes happen on a fairly regular basis in the United States right now because the incentive structure is very much in favor of race.
Oh, do they? Oh, interesting. I mean, I haven't heard of a lot of race hoaxes. I mean, sure, there's always, every once in a while, there's going to be one. That is the case with almost everything, that there's going to, every once in a while, be something like that. But of course, Ben wants to say that this stuff doesn't happen at all, or at least happens very rarely.
Race hoaxes. This has been happening like a lot shockingly a lot in the United States. This doesn't mean that there aren't hate crimes. Doesn't mean there isn't interracial crime, white on black. Although interracial crime, black on white, is significantly more common. But
oh, there you go. There's another sort of a different, not exactly 1350, but yeah. He sort of backs into 1350 there.
The race hoax issue is a real issue, and pretending that it's not is ignoring the state of play in the country. Okay, and then of course you had the entire celebrity class. So you had Ariana Grande, who tweeted out, "What happened to Jussie makes me really effing sick to my stomach. I can't believe bleep like this is really still happening every day." I can't believe it either. Because number one, it's not really happening every day. And also because it's not. So
okay, Ariana Grande, noted politician or pundit, Ariana Grande, right, okay. Sure thing, Ben. What else?
Police. I'm on it. I know who did this to Jussie Smollett. Kerry Washington tweeted, "Dear God! She stares up to the heavens, tears pouring down her face. Why, oh God, why?
Super cringy.
Prayers and justice for Jussie Smollett. Justice came for Jussie Smollett, but not in the form. Be careful what you wish for. Zendaya tweeted out, "This is terrifying and heartbreaking. Please pay attention to what's happening here." Well, the problem is we kind of did. That was the problem in this story, because Jussie probably thought, okay, well, I'll tell my tale. Maybe I won't even go to the cops. And then...
So anyway, you get the idea, right? I mean, Ben Shapiro is Ben Shapiro is Ben Shapiro.